Greetings, loves. It is I,
Tacticool Girlfriend
here. And today, I welcome you to the part 2 video of the Halloween 2024 special, where I'll be doing a review on the Beretta 92FS, a classic Italian Wonder 9 that has been featured in a whole bunch of anime, video games, TV shows, and movies since the 1990s, and has been adopted by numerous law enforcement agencies and various branches and military forces, 1312, throughout the world. Now, with a lot less competition now, hopefully I can make it #1 on Reddit, specifically on the subreddits of r/liberal gun owners, r/trans guns, and r/socialist rifle association. And with me putting about 1,300 rounds of ammunition through this pistol, I think it's time to do a review. And fucking way, it's annoying. And despite any sort of recent announcements, I am still making videos. And no, someone discovering my OnlyFans page and my Tinder profile, it has no relation at all for me stopping making videos, so trust me on that. And I don't have any sort of formal relationship with Beretta. This is acquired through personal and private funds. And to be frank, on a more serious note, I will go and make a separate video in a lot less of an annoying format. But let's get on with the show. Well, the development of the Beretta 92 series has been around since the 1970s. With the initial release in 1976 as the Beretta 92, these early pistols feature a heel magazine release and a frame-mounted safety, not unlike the 1911, which is only a safety and not a decocker. Later on, the safety has been shifted over to the slide, and has changed to a safety decocker and a double-action, single-action trigger configuration known as the 92S. This pistol for a while has been used in Italian law enforcement agencies, where they had entered in the United States in the early 2010s as foreign law enforcement traded pistols. Double-action, single-action pistols have been long. Double-action, single-action pistols have long since been established, with pistols with similar controls such as the German Walther P38. Double-action, single-action pistols have long since been established, and pistols with similar controls to the Beretta 92F, such as the Walther P38 and Walther P1, were used and adopted by various entities within Europe, primarily within Germany. The locking system on the P38 and P1 were different than contemporary Browning-derived tilting barrel systems, such as on the 1911, the Browning High Power, or the Browning M1911 pistol. One thing that is interesting to note about the Walther P1 is that it is a double-action, single-action pistol with an aluminum frame and an open-top slide. Also developed in the 1940s, the Beretta 1951, chambered in 9mm Luger, resembled the earlier Beretta 1934, and many design cues are used in the Beretta 92. One other interesting pistol to take a look at would be the FN Browning 1935 High Power. While that pistol features a single-action trigger design, it does feature a double-stack 9mm Luger magazine. So combining the traits of these three pistols, the Walther P1, the Beretta 1951, and the FN High Power, we have the Beretta 92S, a pistol with a slide-mounted safety decocker and safety, a double-stack magazine, and an open-top slide, chambered at 9mm Luger. In 1982, the Beretta 92SB was released. This particular variant would be adopted into the United States Air Force. A major update to this design is having a passive firing pin block, an American-style magazine release, behind the trigger guard, updated 3-dot taller iron sights, and an
ambidextrous safety decocker
and safety. Later in 1984, the Beretta 92F was released. That was considered to be the foundation of almost all modern 92 series pistols. This features a new Bruntion finish, a chrome-plated bore and chamber, different grip profile, as well as a squared-off trigger guard that is more durable. Speaking of the United States military, this pistol would be adopted as an M9 pistol, in the XM9 pistol trials where other designs were also tested and evaluated. A new DASA pistol in 9mm to replace the aging .45 Auto M1911A1, with the SIG P226 and the Beretta 92F, both passing testing and evaluation. Yet Beretta won the contract with cheaper magazines and replacement parts and support. With the adoption of the M9 pistol, initial batches of 9mm NATO ammunition was defective. Overpressure rounds cracked the slides of these pistols, during use by Navy SEAL units, leading to some operators getting struck in the face by flying slides that broke. A modified and enlarged hammer pin was added to the M9 and the 92F to prevent such of an occurrence cap in case of a catastrophic malfunction due to defective ammunition. This change led to the Beretta 92FS, and a new work order was applied to the M9 pistol. The differences between the Beretta 92FS and the M9 pistol are minor, with the M9 having 2-dot vertical sights and the Beretta 92FS having 3-dot sights. Later 92FS pistols, like this one, feature a slanted dust cover on the frame. Other variants released concurrently during the release of the 92FS was the 96 series and 40 Smith & Wesson, the double-action only 92D, the inox variant made out of stainless steel, and the decocker only 92G. The 92FS will be adopted by several law enforcement agencies and militaries throughout the world. Large agencies such as the Los Angeles Police Department, Connecticut State Police, Maryland State Police, among others, would adopt this pistol. Other agencies would also adopt the 92D, which is seen as a transition between double-action revolvers and semi-automatic handguns. Later variants would be released such as the Brigadier with a dovetailed front sight and heavier slide, Vertec with a slimmer grip, and the M9A1 with a rail dust cover. Later pistols would combine all of these features. While Glock has largely superseded Beretta in civilian and law enforcement circles, and in the military, the M9 pistol was replaced by the M17 and M18 pistol, which is a military variant of the SIG P320 handgun. However, with updated variants, as well as customized models such as the Langdon Tactical 92G, and newer variants such as the M9A4 and the Beretta 92X, these pistols are still popular today in various competition groups, and still used quite fondly. Now that we have gone over the history of this handgun, let's go over the features. The Beretta 92FS is not what I would consider inaccurate, unreliable, fragile, or difficult to maintain. And with it being adopted by numerous military and law enforcement agencies, you can find high quality duty surplus holsters for this pistol, with the caveat that you don't have anything attached to it like an underslung flashlight or an optic. Military surplus 15-shot magazines are very, very cheap to find for this pistol. And contemporary modern magazines, such as 17 or 18-shot magazines, can be found through Metgar and Beretta relatively inexpensively. Not as cheap as Glocks, but not as expensive as HKs or SIGs. There's several aftermarket accessories that can be added to this pistol, and some can be used without even changing the external dimensions of it. For example, you can get a guide rod that also features as a laser. However, this pistol has undeservedly received a bad rap, primarily with widespread use in the military, with it being considered as inaccurate or difficult to use, lacking stopping power, being very, very unreliable, and I think that's due to either MIPS, lack of maintenance on the pistol, the lack of replacing certain parts during service intervals and round counts, as well as poor training. Now, some criticisms are just. For example, the grip over here can be seen as a bit big and difficult, but it works fine for my feminine hands. Fits just fine. And also, the double action, single action trigger can be difficult to master, especially for shooters who are accustomed to single action triggers such as modern striker fired pistols like M&Ps and Glocks and SIG P320s or 1911s, where you have especially with a scale, a very long and kind of rough 13-pound trigger pull, and a single action trigger pull of about 5-6 pounds with a bunch of slop and creep, and then a somewhat noticeable wall, but not as crisp as on a 1911 or a well-tuned aftermarket striker fired trigger. As far as stopping power, there have been many criticisms, especially with the transition from .45 caliber M1911 to the 9mm 92 FS, but with accurate follow-up shots, that wouldn't be an issue, and you get a much higher magazine capacity. That is still not bad, even with the more dated legacy 15-shot magazines. And besides, I've known cases where larger calibers like 40 Smith & Wesson, where someone has been shot at point-blank range with it, they did not die. I mean, they did become a vegetable, where they could no longer speak or move and were wheelchair bound, but besides, if you're going to do the job, I have a much more appropriate tool for that. Now, where do I get with this story? Well, with handguns, whether it's 40 Smith & Wesson, 9mm Luger, 45 Auto, 357 SIG, multiple shots placed properly are more important with incapacitating and destroying threats. Now, for single shots, where you want to get the job done right, full power rifles such as 7mm Remington Magnum, 300 Win Mag, 50 BMG, those are what you need. And at that point, it doesn't matter if you max out your credit card. A 12 or 10 gauge shotgun, such as this Beretta 1301 Mod 2, would also do the trick. But make sure you have a tarp in the background to prevent property damage for the next owner. But max out your credit card if you want to go do that. But I digress. We're talking about the Beretta 92 FS, not the Beretta M82. So, magazines do drop free. Controls are mostly ergonomic. I really hate the safety decocker in the 92 FS configuration. If I was more serious about this pistol, I'd go into the 92G. But at the same time, if you're like some unlucky guy in law enforcement that is like stuck with these old pistols, or in the past in the military, you can't just go modify this and turn it to a decocker only one. And for that, there'd be numerous instances where I would reload this pistol using a overhanded technique, similar to what is taught at Jeff Cooper's gun sight. And with that, I would inadvertently turn on the safety decocker, and once the slide goes forward and I pull the trigger, it'd be a dead trigger, nothing happens, it'll just actuate the trigger bar. I really don't like that. At least with more modern pistols like the 92G, the 92X, which is a single action trigger with a safety similar to that of a 1911, or the M9A3 or M9A4, those problems are alleviated. The modularity of this handgun is so-so. I mean, it is a product of its time, but you can add a optic plate to the rear sight. You can go and change the grips. You can go add a laser guide rod, but to do things like add a flashlight, you need a Surefire or Insight, or it's not that great, but a recover rail, underslung rail. If you want to add a suppressor, you can go get a factory barrel with a threaded muzzle, straight through Beretta. But any of these major changes to the pistol, it'd be more economic to just get like an M9A4 or something else like that. At this point, I'll just leave it as is, as a collector's piece or a reference piece. While in stock form, the Beretta 92 FS does not accept an optic. The iron sights are quite nice. They're well proportioned, they're quite visible, and either the M9 variant with a 2-dot or 92 FS with a 3-dot type sights, either of them are good. I quite like that. So enough about me talking about this pistol. What about me using it in competition? Well, I entered a pixel competition, or PSCL competition, last weekend that was Halloween themed, and I dressed up as Homura Kemi from Quella Magia Madoka Magica, where she would use a Beretta 92 FS or an M9. And how did I do? I nearly scored in last place. I was kind of sweaty. Everyone else was running like expensive high-end competition pistols like Langley Tactical Beretta, the Terran Tactical Glock, the Staccato and Nighthawk 2011, and other pistols. Well, I only rocked a pistol in stock configuration. And I didn't do too much. This pistol is a tack driver at 3 yards. It's an absolute tack driver. While this pistol is easy to maintain and can be field stripped without tools, why would I show anyone like that on YouTube? It's not like you can easily just take it apart and break it down into all the major components, even without looking at it. That's just crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. Well, hey, at least it's something I would actually do in a real video instead of just, this sort of slop. Now, let me just put it back together, and... That's a bit... Now, the guide rod isn't captive and could separate and have the spring fly into a different area, so I gotta be a little bit careful with that. But otherwise, this pistol is super easy to take apart, clean, and put back together. If I put the little thing back on, yeah, here we go. It's all taken apart and put back together. So in conclusion, what do I think about it? Well, I think the Beretta 92FS is a pretty neat gun to be used in media and movies, but I find it to be excessively heavy and it recoils too much. Much like the M4 carbine with its quad rail. That thing is excessively heavy. And if it's a bit pricey, you can get like a studio... And yeah, it's cool and it's used in media and stuff like that, but I think it's in the same category as the Desert Eagle. Overpriced, way too heavy, recoiling too much, and loved by a millennial FUD. What?
What am I supposed to say about this? It's a gun of gun. It works, it's reliable, you can shoot things with it, it's a classic. Holsters and magazines are easy to find for it that are good. Such as the Safariland ALS. Don't get the Serpa. And yeah, it is gun. So if you made it this far with this stupid thing, I'll do a serious video on this pistol that is actually a lot more useful. But otherwise, if you made it this far, give it a like, comment down below on what you think. If you get spooked by this, say something that I think would be funny or cringe or whatever. And if you made it through this slop, I congratulate you and you can subscribe to actually decent videos. Or for tomorrow, the part 3 special for Halloween on November 1st. Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah.